Joe Barnhart Bee County Library. Most people don't think of January as a month in which most people do their gardens, but you can garden year round in your own kitchen. A lot of people do these little herb gardens so that they can get fresh herbs and that it's close at hand when they're doing cooking. So if you're cooking near the stove, you've got a counter system. A lot of people have these. They'll place little UV lights under their cabinets. It also makes it really nice when you're cooking if you've got UV lights. We don't have any here at the library. This is the first time I think we've probably done a garden here at the library itself. And hopefully through this process we'll be able to show you the seed germination process and getting seeds started. January is a good month to do that, to get your garden ready. You won't transplant them usually to the field if you're going to plant outside till around late February or early March. But if you can get your seeds germinated and started and get your little plants growing, that'll speed up the process when you get to those late winter, early spring months. So it's good to start a little bit early. Inside your home is about the perfect temperature for germination. Usually you want to be, depending on the plant, anywhere between 68 degrees and through the 70s, 80 degrees. I believe we're going to try avocados as part of this experiment as well. And those are from tropical environment. They want to be near 80 degrees. You can keep those as indoor plants. They're not real big, and it's nice to get fresh avocados. A lot of people do little lime plants and things like that also inside. But the herb garden takes up very little space. All you need are some little trays. And I've already went ahead and got this tray started. The next thing you need to get a little garden going are these little pellets. They're basically peat moss that's been dried and pushed down, and they're inside of a little sock that's kind of like a cheesecloth. And as you can see, once you get them wet, everything grows out. Now I'm going to do a couple different things here. With the ones where I've kept them whole like this, that's where I'm going to start individual plants. I'm going to take these and I'm going to break them up, and we're just going to do like we're going to do the whole little tray full of the green herbs. So I've got kind of a mix of things here right now at hand that we're going to do. I'm going to do some bell peppers. I've got cilantro. I have radishes and carrots, but I'm probably going to try these at home, and I'm going to plant them directly in the field. They do really good in sandy soil, and you would have to have pretty big trays. But I have seen some people do, especially like radishes in trays, because you can do like radishes and turnip greens. And so a lot of people like their fresh greens this way. But these I've got for later. And I've also got some rosemary, parsley. For individual plants, I make sure that there's enough space that I can fit all these guys in. It's a little bit tight, but it's not too bad. And what I'm going to do is just pour a little water on them and kind of get them gently covered. Now, if you put in too much water, they're going to start floating. And so you really don't want to do that, because then they'll get kind of all bunched up and crazy like this if you're going to try to get them to fill in your tray perfectly here. Now, a lot of times when you buy starter kits, they already have the trays and they have everything pre-done, and you just put the water in and you're good to go. One of the things like I do have to mention is if you put in too much water, them floating away. If they've got them perfectly fitted, you want to put in a little bit of water at a time, let it grow a little bit, add a little bit more water, let it grow a little bit. So again, I got these guys growing up. Now, like I said, I kind of got this perfectly fit to these trays. This one here, I'm going to take these guys, and I just really wanted the peat moss, because I bought these whole bunch of these peat moss things, and since I knew I was going to do a variety of things, I'm just going to take these guys and I'm going to break them down and pull them out of their socks and drop all the peat moss in here. Now, this is great to do in the kitchen where you're near a sink so that you can wash things down. We'll keep the lid so that we can keep the moisture in this. You want to keep it moist, but you do not want to drown these things, is part of the process, okay? If you drown, well, the first process actually we're going to do after this, I'm going to grab another cup here in a minute, is kind of drown the seeds, and I'm going to show you why. And you're going to want to soak them for up to, say, an hour. before you start on some seeds. It depends on where you get your seeds, what kind of seeds you get, on whether you're going to want to pre-soak them. In theory, you might not have to. If you could pre-soak them for a few minutes. If you're going to do something like this and just directly plant them in, it's usually not a big deal. They'll get moist enough over time, but depending on the plant, I've heard different things on whether you should pre-soak or not, so we'll kind of play with both ideas, I guess, a little bit here. The cilantro looks like a good one. I'm kind of torn. Do I want to go cilantro or parsley? I think we'll go with cilantro this go round. So what you'll see, and the thing I was describing, is these seeds will tell you they've got a natural seed coating. A lot of people will start to get these coatings off. Sometimes there are nutrients in there, so you're just washing away the nutrients if you do that. But if you open these guys up, just leave this where there's a little bit of water in here, because this could still probably soak up a little bit of water. I'm going to pour my seeds in the water. And then kind of just swish it around a little bit. And I want to see if it's going to get rid of the green stuff, but I'm going to pour that back in there with it. A lot of people would just spread out the seeds. They would wash this down and spread out the seeds. Actually, that may be what I'm going to do, is just wash it down and then spread out the seeds. Just mix it with my fingers. That'll work. And you see this green stuff, it's just washing off. It's just a green clay. Some of them have a red clay on it. They just do that so that you can tell once you've got the seeds washed off. Don't smash your seeds, be careful of that. So you want to just kind of gently, you can start seeing now that they're getting more to a natural color, that kind of tannish color. And that's really what we want to get them down to. We want to help speed up the process. We just want to get rid of all the stuff on it. If there's any nutrients in it, it'll wash in with this water, because I'm going to pour it in there with it. Actually, no, I do need to separate this out so I can kind of... You do want to separate out your seeds pretty good, so that they can grow. Because you don't want them all concentrated in one area, then they're all going to end up fighting each other. But you don't need a whole lot of separation, you just want a little bit of separation. So I'm going to start trying to grab them out. And now they're all going to stick to me because they're all wet. And then just kind of drop them in. Yeah, they're all sticking to me. Alright. If you get like two next to each other, that's usually not a huge deal. Those are all right next to each other. I'll probably pick these out, kind of separate them out, push this all around a little bit, and that'll give them just a little bit under the soil. And this really does stick. If I were smart, I would probably use some kind of little wire mesh and got these out and let them dry a little bit first, after washing this stuff off. But again, like I said, it's sometimes they'll put nutrients on there, so sometimes them having the nutrients is good. This one didn't say specifically that it was a nutrient, just that it was a natural seed coating, which leads me to believe it's probably some kind of clay material. They use the clay to keep the seeds from getting wet when they're in package. If you have enough moisture in the air, in theory, the seeds could just start sprouting in the package. So a lot of times they coat them just to prevent that from happening with clay, which will act as a water barrier to the moisture in the air. Well, I've got a bunch kind of spread out there. Just pour this all in. It's getting kind of crazy here with trying to get all these little guys off my fingers. And that'll add just a little bit more moisture to the thing. Like I said, the clay in there really isn't going to hurt anything. Add just a little bit more water because this is still got some dry spots in it too. Like I said, you don't want it grounded, but you want it good and moist. And if the good thing about clear containers, you can watch the bottom. If you're getting more than half of that of water at this point after already soaking it, you've probably got too much. I figured this can handle about where we're at, which is about a quarter of it up. That's after pre-soaking. So these guys, we pre-soaked and you can see the water's already gone. So, and they've started to grow a little bit. So what we want to do is go ahead and add a little bit more water and let them grow a little bit more. And again, kind of get it up to about the level of the thing. Don't go too much over, otherwise they do start floating. You can see that center one's kind of floating a little bit, but the other one's kind of going to lock in place because they're kind of more tightly in there. And that will let that go. The other thing I got to tell you is if you're on a city water system, a lot of times what you'd want to do, like I'm grabbing water straight out of here, the chlorine levels are not too bad here, but when I lived in San Antonio, we had lots of chlorine in the water, and I think they put fluoride. Yes, fluoride is what they used to put in there. Things like that. So a lot of people tell you be careful when you're on city waters to use them. If it's something that's just heavy chlorine, go ahead, get you a pitcher of water. I've got a little cup here, but I would give me, like, say, a pitcher of water, and then just set it out overnight. Or just give it a couple of hours even, and chlorine will evaporate quicker than water, and it'll clean most of that out. That helps the process. You don't have to do any special distillation or anything like that.